Hey, fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well. Today I have an honored guest in Rachel Stuhlmann, one of the most popular tennis influencers. Sure, you've seen her on Instagram. She used to play for the Missouri Tigers, was high-ranked NCAA player. How are you today, Rachel?
Doing well. Thanks so much for having me on.
So what's going on in your life right now?
Yeah, so, you know, we've had all the slams, a lot of tournaments. This is just kind of that fourth quarter of a lot of different tennis events going on. And I'm still kind of figuring out my travel schedule. There's lots of options, Rolex Paris Masters, there's Turin, a bunch of exhibitions, Baha Mar, Turks and Caicos, Necker Cup, All-American Cup. So I'm still I was asked today what my next tournament is. I'm not sure at the moment, but I'm always ready to go for whatever, opportunity it is. So
What's it like to go to these events? Do you have any favorites, or is it very busy when you're there? Like a lot of commitments you have to do?
yeah. So especially the US Open, that one definitely is my favorite. I know it's a little bit biased, but for me, like that was just nonstop 2 weeks. There were events. I had a lot of obligations as far as brand commitments. I had a lot of meetings. There were player parties, and then of course going to the matches, and then going to suites, and all of the different things that going to the US Open entails. I think I was averaging like 3 or 4 hours of sleep for 2 weeks straight, and so but it's always so totally worth it. And then you asked about the other tournaments. I think it's so special because they all have their own unique aesthetic, and they're all very special in their own ways. And it's usually a different group of people that are putting it on, and it's just that's what I enjoy, is being able to go to these tournaments that are in different countries, different cities, and being able to kind of just experience that culture, experience the tennis tournament, and the beauty of the events.
Do you manage to keep up with your routines when you're traveling, like going to the gym? Do you manage to play any tennis? What's happening besides all the work?
Yeah, it's actually been a little bit harder for me this year, traveling so much. I was just telling a friend I've been home less than 30 days this year. I've been on the road so much. So working out and having a routine is actually kind of non-existent for me. So I just, I'm very, very mindful. I am very mindful with what I eat. So I'm not like eating because I'm not going to be able to work out. And I, work out as much as I can when I am on the road. Usually, the hotels have a pretty nice gym. So if I have enough energy, then I just really am mindful and listen to myself and just try and stay healthy from all the travel.
Yeah, it's tough. It's one of the toughest things to stay just like eating well and doing the workouts. I mean, luckily with the gyms, you have the training facilities. Do you have any time to play tennis? Are you hitting any balls?
Yeah, so I try and hit at least once a week. Again, over the summer, I really didn't have as much opportunity, but since I've been back in the last month, I try and hit once a week, twice a week. I do shoot this instructional piece to my content where I'll teach a drill, and so I always will kind of hit before that, and then put together the drill and film that. So I do that, but I also want to stay prepared in case there's an exhibition or a charity event or some kind of coaching event that I'm needed at. So I try and stay tuned up and not too cold. So yeah, I try and hit what I can.
Do you ever miss competing? I mean, you're a quite high level player, so that's the competing is in you, right? Do you miss it?
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to play my whole life. I wanted to play tennis. I loved competing. And a lot of times I'll go to these tournaments, and obviously, and I'm like, oh, I wish I was playing. I wish I was still playing. Like, really miss, I miss the strategy of the game, being able to problem solve on court. I miss being very competitive. I found kind of different avenues to kind of put that into my life with what I'm doing now. But I still have dreams that I'm competing a lot, that I'm playing a big match, which is funny. But yeah, I definitely do miss it.
And what's up with the family then? Like, you're always traveling. Like, you must miss your family and friends at home. Like, it must be tough.
Yeah, but I keep where I live by my family. So when I'm not on the road, I'm able to see them when I'm home. My family is very close. I'm actually a triplet, one of three. Got a brother and a sister, and we're all very close. We have a little sister as well, and she's like my best friend. So we all, we've got a family text, lots of FaceTimes, and always making sure to see them between all of the travels.
When you're a triplet, do you have like a telepathic ability to communicate with each other? Like, do you know what the other people are thinking and feeling sometimes?
I truly think so. I think so. And I've had moments where, I've had a certain feeling and I'll reach out to them. And of course, something is going on. And that's happened a few times to me. My triplet sister thinks that I specifically really do have that kind of telepathy with them. I think so too. I know people probably think it sounds crazy, but it is just a feeling. And it is super special. Like I'm very lucky. Two automatic built-in best friends since we were born.
No, that's amazing. I think there even been really researched and stories about this kind of ability when you're twins or triplets. It's even more. So that's pretty interesting thing, to keep investigating. Do you have time to watch any tennis? Like, do you watch tennis during the events, or are you just always like in commitments?
Yeah, I usually do. And I know, like, I'm thinking of certain instances like Indian Wells or Miami. Where I'm here, I am able to watch some matches, and I do always try and walk the grounds and experience the tournament, check out the practice courts, check out the grandstands or the smaller courts, and see some of the players that I love. Also check the schedules and be able to look at who I would want to watch or just check out that day. And so yeah, I am pretty lucky that it is a lot of work being at the tournaments, but I do have a little bit of time to check out some matches, and I get to see some pretty amazing matches. I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah, that's cool. When you go to the tournaments, live tennis is the best. That's usually what I tell people. It's the best if you can go. So when you walk around the grounds, you're a pretty famous tennis influencer. Do people stop and want autographs or selfies? Does that happen?
Actually, yeah. Like the last 2 years, the tournaments in the States especially, I've been stopped quite a lot for a picture, and it's really nice, feeling support from people. I've worked pretty hard in my career, and so that's always a fun moment, and I'm always happy to say hi and take a photo with someone for sure.
Yeah, it's a nice way to give back, and also it's nice to see the tennis community growing or caring or being quite active. What do you think about tennis in general? Is it doing okay, or is it losing the battle to pickleball, or what's your feelings there?
No, I was just asked this. It's not losing a battle to pickleball. Pickleball is a fun, recreational sport. I am supportive of it. I think it's a great social activity. I think it is very healthy, gets people out of the house. It's a fun, thing for people to stay active on court. Supportive of that. Yeah, it can be a little bit annoying when you're going to a tennis court and there are, some pickleball players out there, but I think it's overall a good thing. Tennis is still a way more popular sport. I mean, you think about not just I guess in the country, but internationally as well. Pickleballs, it's only in the States right now. You get padel in your country, paddle and in Europe, right? It's
yep.
paddle's
very,
kind of
popular.
the pickleball equivalent. And so I think that it is huge here. I also said the other day, I think that more people play pickleball than watch it. More people watch tennis than play it. But it's still, it's tennis is fine. It's not going anywhere. Pickleball's not taking over anything. Everything's fine.
I think that's the right mindset. I think it's also good to be welcoming, because I've seen these kind of pickleball wars and stuff, and it's just a silly way. It's better to just coexist. And if you want to move in between sports, that's great. If you don't feel you're want more than pickleball, or if you want maybe less strain on the body than tennis.
Well, if you're involved in tennis, you absolutely cannot avoid pickleball. You just can't. There have been many ways, different work that I've done, different companies I've worked with that it's just crossed into pickleball as well. And you just can't avoid it. You kind of have to accept it, be welcoming of it, and just do what you have to do to work within both sports. It's fun. It's fun to play. I think tennis physically is a lot more, way more impressive. It's a lot harder for me to actually watch a pickleball match. Like, definitely no disrespect to the athletes. I think that they're, great athletes. They've obviously figured out, a really, really, I guess, strong way to play, this sport. But I think it's just not as impressive to watch for me personally.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, we're both tennis players, so it makes sense that
Yeah.
it's like not so natural. Do you think tennis can do something better, maybe to be more marketable? Because what pickleball is doing really well is like they're selling the sport really well, right? Tennis, can we do something better with the rules, with the producing of the events, the packaging?
There's a lot of different, companies, different projects, different things in place that is just making the sport of tennis more accessible. Like, for instance, like we're talking about just kind of reaching that general audience.
Yeah.
Patrick Radaglu with the Ultimate Tennis Showdown, that is specifically targeted to kind of that younger demographic that has a shorter attention span, and it was an absolute success. So that's like one event that can kind of be, for everyone to that might not want to sit that 4 hour match, just to come enjoy some tennis. It's very easy to kind of digest. It's easy to watch. And it's quick moving. So that's like one example. But then there are also like programs in place, some like technologies that will introduce people into the game. I'm working with a company now that's a tennis top golf concept, and it's really cool. It's going to give, people who are a little intimidated by the court, maybe don't know what to do, just kind of a fun, interactive, social, entertaining way to really experience the game. And yeah, there's things like that. There's some technology out there. Like, I worked with Top Court for a long time, and that's, both tennis and pickleball now. But it's just that kind of e-learning platform for people to be able to learn. I think that tennis has a lot of those things in place right now. I think pickleball is just kind of like more of like a craze for, I guess, a social activity.
Yeah, the social activity in tennis is sometimes tennis is too competitive. It feels like everybody's so competitive in tennis, they want to win, and then you kind of lose a little bit of that social aspect of pickleball, where you can just pick up the paddle and then a beer and you're playing, right? So
But those
that's something
pickleball
maybe
players, some of them are pretty dang competitive, though.
I can imagine. Yeah, I've seen some fights on YouTube and stuff, like what's happening, right?
That's funny.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
funny thing. So if we go back to your tennis beginnings, like you must have like had so many hours on the court. Did you have any like strong highlights in your career that you can remember, that you think about from time to time?
Yeah, I mean, I played, since I was a little kid, since I was 5 years old. Um, I had a pretty good college experience. I didn't do everything I wanted to do career-wise with my tennis career, but had some, good wins. I always think of the University of Georgia. That was I had the biggest win of my career. And then I also, like, we also had a college match day. It was one of the, I think the first year they ever did that. They featured 10 matches, and ours versus Georgia was one of them. So that was just a really cool experience. But for me, like, those moments definitely come to my mind.
Yeah, and it's a good ground, I think, to get started. I mean, if you're a good tennis player and you want to have a career, but you also want to have a backup in life, that you actually have an education, I think that makes sense. Maybe not for everyone, but it seems to be a good option. Did you feel that the same way?
Yeah, I always think this. I'm like, I'm very, very happy, lucky, blessed, like, thankful for how my career has kind of panned out the way that it has. If I could do it all over again, I would have tried a bit harder in school. I would have actually been, I guess, a little bit more present, and thought a little bit more about my major than the one that I chose. Uh, so yeah, that's one thing I do think about, because I thought at the time, I thought I'd be playing tennis for the rest of my life. I thought it would just never end. You're young and you have kind of an obsession with the sport that you're playing. So yeah, I never thought it would end. And then, going a little bit into my story, when I decided not to continue on professionally, I took the highest paying coaching job, was offered from country clubs, academies, colleges, but it took me to Sun Valley, Idaho, which is a very, very nice country club. Actually, Matt Spielander is out there. He's a member there, and so I got to meet him, and so anyway, but out there I learned, like, I really was thinking, I'm like, I still feel like I want to be a part of the sport. I have all these thoughts, all these ideas. Like, I feel like no one is highlighting tennis like it should be. And then I hired a website designer. I just started writing a bunch of articles about, tennis and kind of my thoughts in the sport. And they were very well received by a lot of people. And from that came a lot of opportunities in the media world, which, I didn't know that I would even do that from a young age. I didn't really plan that or anything, but it kind of happened. And I just said yes to a lot of opportunities. Worked as a digital media host, done some sports talk radio, done a little bit of commentary. It just kept leading me to a lot of different opportunities. And from there, I started growing my personal brand, which I really, really have dedicated to highlighting the sport of tennis, the schedule, the tournaments, everything like that. I feel like I've really put myself out there on behalf of a sport that's been in desperate need of social media content for a really long time. And so yeah, it's been really fun. And it's funny because, like, this younger girl reached out to me and she was like, what do I need to do to have like a career like yours? And it is a very unconventional path. Like, there's no playbook for this. I just said yes to a lot of opportunities. I always made sure to put myself out there, meeting people, networking, following up, and I worked pretty hard. And yeah, super, super blessed to be where I am.
You think you got like some of that ambition from tennis in a way, like that you actually had to work so hard in tennis that you got that mindset? And maybe it's from family in a way, but it's also like from the sport and being, forced to put into all this work.
Yeah, definitely. I think that I was always very, very committed. I was very disciplined. Like, my entire playing career, like, I didn't drink ever, like, until after I played, even in college. And I was very disciplined. I always put in extra workouts. I knew that I wasn't like born insanely talented in tennis, so I knew that I needed to do a lot of extra work, and I did that, my entire career. Staying up late, serving that extra basket, getting those extra reps in the gym. That always was kind of like, who I was as an athlete. And I think that a lot of that did transfer over to my professional career, where yeah, I do put in a lot of work, and it's not easy because, like I said, there isn't a playbook for what I'm doing. And I've kind of created this career for myself that I am proud of. And it's been a really, really cool experience. And my mission has always been to make the sport of tennis more mainstream, relatable, and accessible. And anything that aligns with that, I'll just continue to kind of follow that path, say yes to, and just keep kind of moving forward.
That's great. Do you have any like personal milestones in your career, or like a direction where you want to go? Like maybe, being a TV presenter, being more in broadcasting, or something else, maybe outside tennis, for example?
I have so many goals, like so many goals that I want to achieve. But just, I guess, sharing a couple with you. I do want to get more into kind of the commentary side. One thing that I love, like I told you earlier, is that strategy of the game. Like, I love talking about it. I love talking about, players' strengths and weaknesses, how an opponent matches up to another one, how the match is going. And so that's something I definitely am working to, put myself out there more and do more of that. I also am working with like a variety of different projects. One of them is bringing a professional tennis tournament to my home city of St. Louis. Came close a couple of years ago, learned a whole lot from that experience. But I would like to, have that happen as well. I want to continue to be more involved with the tournaments, particularly internationally. There's a lot that I haven't been to that I really would like to go to, and really help kind of promote and highlight those tournaments. So that's definitely kind of where I see my career going. I'm also been working on a book that I'm really excited about. And So yeah, that's kind of a few of the things that
Is
I'm
the
working
book
on.
tennis related or is something else, other topics?
It is tennis related. Yeah, it is. And it's something that's like really meaningful to me. It's kind of the way that I view the sport. And without giving too much away, I'm really excited about it.
That's great. That's great. So, do you have any time for any other hobbies besides tennis? Is it just tennis, 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 or I mean, because your career is taking up a lot of time, of course.
Yeah, it is. I feel like right now I do, but if you would have asked me like midsummer, like earlier in the year, I would have been like, no, I don't have any time for anything. But yeah, I mean, family time obviously important to me. I like to stay active, so working out as well, and then just making sure that I get to see my friends, having a social life. I do like going out and dressing up, going to events. I just went to, I had a pretty busy social week last week. Went to a concert, went to a gala, went to a couple of parties, like and so, yeah, I do like staying social, just trying to kind of balance and have a normal life.
Yeah, I think that's important. What was the concert?
It was SZA.
Oh, cool.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Was good.
yeah, she was unbelievable. Yeah, it was really amazing. She's actually from St. Louis,
Oh,
so it
wow.
was kind of fun to see her here, and yeah, that was really good.
Do you have like a strong connection to your hometown? Like you feel it in your bones almost.
I do. And it's like, I feel like a lot of people make fun of it because, there have been some athletes or well-known people to come out of St. Louis and they rep St. Louis so hard and like always in St. Louis, this and that. But it is such a special city, and I'm proud to be from here. And it's a great sports city. We've got a huge baseball team, hockey team, soccer team, and actually so much tennis history. It's insane. I'm on the St. Louis Tennis Hall of Fame board, and it's really cool. And since I was a young kid, I've learned all about the players that came from St. Louis, like Jimmy Connors. Arthur Ashe played here when he was 18 years old. He came to train here. And then there's Butch Buchholz, Chuck McKinley, Dwight Davis is from St. Louis. So it's just such a rich tennis history. And that's another project that I'm working on, is just working hand in hand with the St. Louis Tennis Hall of Fame, making sure to kind of highlight that tennis history. Like I said, we're such a sports city, and I feel like the city isn't as aware of the tennis history. So I'm like, okay, it's time for for everyone to know about this too. So
It's great that it has like such a strong sports soul, right? It's like impressive that some cities can just like keep producing talent over and over again. It's like in the culture, kind of.
it is, yeah. And I mean, the baseball too, it's super impressive. It's always been a great team. Not this year, but in the prior years, one of the best, I'd say.
That's cool. Yeah. When you work with, I mean, you're an influencer in a way, right? It's a word that's a bit tired, but does it come with a lot of complications, like messages from everyone, brands contacting? Some people have an addiction to the phone because you get a lot of messaging on the phone, so it's tough to stay away from Instagram and so on. Do you feel that?
Not really. I feel like I have things pretty down to a T. It's really become just a business for me. Social media, like, I don't share too much of my personal life. I'll never really post where I am or what I'm doing, unless it's kind of like at a tournament. And so, yeah, it really has become a business for me, a way to, like I said, showcase the tournaments and also the brands that I'm working with. I've got it pretty much down to a T. I've got a great team. I've got a videographer and photographer, and he's like phenomenal. Anytime that I have a new content piece that I have to make, we'll just talk about it, go shoot it, he'll edit it, and it's good to go. And it's always just kind of like I said, down to a T. And yeah, so I feel like that's kind of where my social is at.
Well, that's good. That's good. Do you have any kind of like project management tool or team or person to help you? Because if you have so many projects going, how do you keep track of everything?
I know, I do. I have an agent. I also have a manager, and then I have two interns, and along with the content. So I do have a whole team, and it's a great group of people, and a website designer. He's awesome. So he takes care of my website.
Yeah, it takes a village. Like you need more than one person. Like
Yeah.
things just stack up and things become more and more you know, snowballing, like in this time of social media and content, I think things snowball much faster. So you have to be ready to kind of move with opportunities and go to events and stuff like that. Do you
Yeah.
have any highlights from the events you've been to that you are like, this was the best I've done this year or previous years?
Um, I will always say that US Open is always a very meaningful event for me. And I'm not just saying that because it actually is. Like every year, something amazing always happens for me from that tournament. And yeah, I think this year, just since it was like I feel like I'm at kind of like the best that I've ever been, the best that where my brand's at, where I'm going, the most confident I've been. Um, I feel like this year it was definitely the entire thing was a highlight. Just since I landed, getting to go straight from the airport to the PTPA interview that I had, and then from there go to the Taste of Tennis private dinner, and then the next day wake up and I don't even remember what it was, but meetings, and then this event, and then it was just nonstop productiveness for like 2 weeks. And uh, I would definitely say that US Open for sure.
Yeah, it seems to be a special event. Like, yeah, I think they broke some attendance records. Like, it was pretty packed this year, no?
Yeah, it was. I saw that. I can't remember the exact number, but they definitely did break attendance. It was packed the entire time, and yeah, it was an awesome year this year.
Yeah, hope for even bigger year next year, and for you as well. I mean, I really enjoyed talking to you. I know you have a press schedule, so I don't want to take up more of your time, but it was enjoyable, and we keep in touch, and I keep watching your career.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It was a great time.